Good morning, natural gas. It's Thursday, July the 23rd, 2026. I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. And for the spot August natural gas contract, we're currently trading at 293.3, up 8 ticks. That's right, the RSI is in positive territory. That's good news. We touched on the 13-period exponential moving average, which came in at 296.60. That's good news. But today is storage day. Expectations plus 35. Last year, plus 27. The 5-year average plus 30. So if we get consensus, it's slightly bearish. And now let's turn to the hourly chart here. As you can see, we're above the daily pivot today, which came in at 291.40. The RSI's turned lower. So the market's saying, hey, we're going to get a bearish storage report. We're going to push back down toward the daily pivot, 291.40, possibly pushed down toward first support, 287.60. Well below that is secondary support at 282.80. So let's take a look at the markets here. And this is April through October. Yesterday, as you can see, we were up 3.7 cents here. But today we're up just a little bit, 1.8 cents here. We're at 310 and 8 ticks. The RSI is positive. Let's turn to ERCOT, and we've got some good news. Yesterday, ERCOT here, we saw demand over 90,000 megawatts in natural gas had to step up to the plate because it, of course, was low wind conditions. Today, we're currently looking about just under 35,000 megawatts of renewable capacity. But again, wind is low when it gets this hot. And as you can see right here, our forecast today is just over 84,600. And so that means right now, natural gas is grabbing about 48% of the fuel mix right now. That will continue to push higher as the day goes, but wind is going to try and catch up later this afternoon. Let's turn to the national grid. And as you can see, PJM has already been popping this morning upwards of $120 per megawatt. Over here in ERCOT, though, we've already had our peak this morning here. We're expected only to get up toward about $60 here, about $59, $60 here. MISO here is expected to get about $65 and change, $66 here. We've got some volatility this morning, especially in New England here. This is ISO NE. And of course, up in Ontario, there's been some lower prices right now. But let's take a look at the national grid here for the temperatures, and it's the 18 to 14-day temperature outlook, and that near normal has been pushed down into the Carolinas. So the heat is contained in the desert Southwest and Florida for the August 5th period. So let's take a look at the weather here. But in the meantime, we're going to be hot, and we're going to have a lot of people under extreme heat risk here. Today, only 352,000, but we've got major heat risk for 46 million. And this continues to climb as we go into next week here. As you can see, warmer temperatures returning to the upper Midwest, of course, the desert Southwest, of course, Texas here in Florida. But look at this extreme heat risk up in Montana, Wyoming, parts of Nebraska here, as well as, of course, the desert Southwest, Texas and Florida, Mississippi. Now it becomes 5 million people on Monday, 12 million on Tuesday here. This expands some extreme heat risk here. And of course, then 14.6 million on Wednesday. So cooler temperatures, yes, for the Northeast, but the South, especially the South Central, is going to boil. So let's take a look at that weather forecast here. This is the European model here for heat indexes. And as you can see right now, the heat is centered in Texas and up into the upper Midwest here. Of course, also the Southeast, but New England, mid-Atlantic states, possible parts of the Great Lakes are relatively cool until late in the forecast period when that heat starts to move up the East Coast here, as you can see, slightly for just about 2 days. So let's take a look at Europe, which is also going to boil. And here is France and Germany. And as you can see, cooler weather right now. This is good news because here comes Saturday, a little bit warmer. Sunday also comes in. And then you start to see some very, very warm temperatures again as we get into August. Again, here's cooler temperatures starting on the 28th. It warms back up. There's the 30th. Heat coming back in on 31st. There's the 1st, boiling. 2nd, same thing. Goes into the 3rd. That heat starts to push out actually to the east, but then more heat comes back in around the end of the forecast period here. Let's take a look. There it is. Oops, let me just pause this for a second. There's that heat, of course, on the 7th. Right there is the 6th, all the way encompassing right there, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, all of Austria, all the way back into Romania. So this is going to be very, very hot. And how's storage? Still the same. Really not doing too well here. They have yet to hit the pedal to the metal. And of course, some of the same countries are in really dire straits. The UK, Belgium, the Netherlands in particular. Less so. Ukraine, of course, is because of a war. Sweden really only has one test facility, so kind of throw that one out. But the countries that are doing well, Portugal, Poland, Spain, and Italy are doing well. So Germany, although it shows 46% full, is still near a 5-year low for this time of the year. So let's take a look at the TTF. This is the tidal transfer facility contract for August here. And as you can see, it is pushed up today, right now, giving up a little bit because we're down like now 1.17%. But this has been on a tear here for the last 2-3 weeks. So watch out. TTF is starting to panic. And let's take a look at Asia. And there's warmer temperatures as we go through late in the forecast period here. This takes us all the way out until August the 7th here. And as you can see, warmer temperatures from basically Shanghai here back up into Beijing. So a little bit warmer temperatures there. Also, you can see Japan and the Koreas warming up as well as we get into the first week of August. Let's turn to LNG, and this is Ras Laffan. And here we go. We've got one tanker loading up here, the Al Shamal. So that's good news there for Qatar. They are still periodically loading tankers. And of course, we've got our U.S. ships out here guarding the Strait of Hormuz. So there is some traffic moving through. It is light. And again, we've got major congestion off Dubai and, of course, Oman. Let's take a look at the U.S. LNG market. We're currently at 1.467 for Cameron. Steady as she goes. Great news there. Same thing here for Freeport. Last 4 days, steady as she goes, just under 1.2. And here is Creole Trail that feeds Sabine Pass, and it's got open capacity right now. Again, same thing, just under 370,000 MMBTUs of capacity. Again, this is just one pipeline that feeds Sabine Pass. So it can have open capacity. Doesn't mean the terminal's not operating well. And here is Corpus Christi. This is improving. So Creole Trail here is, excuse me, this, not Creole Trail. This is Corpus Christi here, only 257,000. So this is an improvement from yesterday. So it is starting to ramp up a little bit here. And let's take a look at Venture Global. Again, this is 457,000. We did see a higher number yesterday, so slight improvement there. And over at Plaquemines, actually, it's pulling back a little bit. Over 100,000 of open capacity here. Had been running over nameplate capacity for the last few weeks, but because maybe the storm, right now there is still heat and humidity. And of course, it's running just under nameplate capacity, but still doing very, very well. And as steady as she goes, Golden Pass, 300 and basically 30,000 MMBTU, still running well under 50% here for Train 1 capacity. We'd like to see this start to ramp up as the temperatures start to cool off. And here's the U.S. nuclear fleet right now, still doing very, very well. Currently, just 1 gigawatt is offline, steady as she goes there. And here's the tropics. This is Bertha. And as you can see, there's Houston right here. Corpus Christi down here, and this is the thunderstorms. The system itself, the low is up here near Louisiana, Texas border. So we'll take a look at that, and there it is. There's the center of the storm. The thunderstorms, as you can see here, are faded to the south and west. This is going to get into Houston here later this afternoon, potentially. And here is the Saharan air layer. That dust is being pushed off the coast of Texas here in Louisiana by Bertha. Thank you very much. but there's more coming. So brief reprise. So anyway, there's still more coming. And here is the Canadian wildfires. Lots of smoke and particulate matter still pushing into the United States here because these wildfires are well up into the Yukon area and further up. And as you can see, that's going to be very difficult territory for them to contain it. They're just going to probably let these things burn out. In the meantime, it's going to be sending smoke into the upper Midwest here and possibly back into the Northeast later on. How about stocks? Well, stocks in general are down. So the oil and gas sector holding on here for the moment. Matador behind me down 2.04%. CNX up 0.78%. Mostly a sea of green, holding up because of prices here. So again, recapping for the spot August natural gas contract, we're currently trading at $2.9360, up 1.1 cents or 0.38%. Today is storage day. Expectations plus 35, which would be considered bearish. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.